Alright everyone, we start off today with another damning report. Remember that CNN takes marching orders in part from the Biden White House. It's been openly acknowledged by Oliver Darcy. They, along with other legacy media groups and now a bunch of TikTok influencers, I hazard a guess they're mainly influencing bots, to tell the truth. Pissing echo chamber comes to mind. Along with these groups of people, Joe Biden has drafted them aboard to try to spin economic news. The idea is, well, the public's getting a not very rosy picture of the Biden economy, which makes sense because the Biden economy fucking sucks. So we're going to effectively lie to people. We're going to tell the legacy media how to report on things, which is like, I mean, they've completely flown the coop if they call themselves journalists at this point. No, it's not what you're doing. You've become state propaganda mouthpieces. Even more than before, remember for a while, the U.S. legacy media being encouraged to do propaganda thing was illegal. Government was banned from doing that altogether. Up till the middle of Obama, and then he repealed that. It was Obama, just so that people are aware of who made the legacy media even more unfair and terrible than it already was. There's a reason it's been going into the fucking dark ages over the last decade. Anyway, link in the description. Archived, of course. This comes from CNN. And they're acknowledging, oh yeah, the Biden economy is going to get way worse. Yeah, you haven't seen the last of it, basically. It tries to cover Biden's ass at a couple points here. Well, Americans are ignoring the really good unemployment numbers, which in turn ignores the labor force participation, and some other positive aspects of the economy, while at the same time trying to paint it now as the Putin inflation. It is true that, of course, the effect of Russia's war in Ukraine will be felt for a very long time within the West. You're really going to start seeing it show up during the harvest. When the food starts coming in and the government has to choose between an additional harvest season price hike, especially on meat, although it will take a little bit longer than that. You grow the corn, you're getting Russian fertilizer, and you're paying twice as much for that now. Corn costs more, the corn gets fed to the pig, the pork costs more. It spirals out of control potentially. Right now, though, the amount of impact that the Russia sanctions or any decisions Putin or Biden about Ukraine and Russia for that matter are making, really it's a null sort of thing. It's only a little bit. This article tries to make that the hyperbolic most important part of it. Well, it's basically the Putin gas hikes. No, it's not. Gas prices are inching back upwards because there was only a little bit of oil to be freed up from the strategic reserves that had been barreled up back when it was cheaper. You didn't have that much of it to actually pump out. Biden is in vain trying to salvage the summer season. Basically, he's just trying to marginally reduce the gas prices through summer, allow him to use ethanol mixes and shit, in order to get people to go out and do things. The exact opposite of what the Biden administration told everyone to do, by the way, last spring. So it should give you an indicator. Then they're setting the stage, by the way, in this article, and Fauci has done this too, they're setting the stage to blame COVID for when the economy really bottoms out. When we almost now inevitably hit a recession over the next months, they'll say it's because of an upswelling of COVID cases, probably around autumn. And coincidentally, when those harvest prices will begin to rise. Coincidences all over the place. You would never guess so many coincidences could happen at the same time. Now, before I rant a little bit further, keep in mind if you're on YouTube, links down below in a pinned comment. Yada, yada, yada. Exclusives every day, one or two. It depends on the day. It depends on if there's non-political content as well, because those videos always will go on YouTube. A gardening video, pet the kitty video. Hey, look at this giant spider I found in the ivy plant video. Well, you never know what will happen on this channel. It's a bit eclectic, as you may have known over the past few years. Here's the thing, though. The most damning, it's not even the structure of the article. You know that they're going to do that to spin economic news for Biden because they're literally being encouraged to do so. And their newsroom is partially run now by the White House, which is basically fascism, and it should give Americans pause. But believe it or not, there is actually still an audience for CNN. Not CNN Plus, though. Apparently their CFO just got sacked, and they're pulling the funding for Chris Wallace's bullshit. So he and CNN have failed completely. They couldn't even get 1/10 as many viewers as I do, actually. And keep in mind, I don't have the kind of multi-million-dollar budget that CNN Plus has. But when we see CNN actually reporting on the fact that the economy sucks, even if they mince words, even if they say, well, it's Putin, COVID will play a role, and lockdown certainly did. Viruses don't eat money usually. Even if they're doing that, even if there's a lot of lies by omission, structure, outright lies, black lies, little white lies, and everything else, that's the average CNN article, by the way. Anyway, the fact that they're reporting on the bad state of especially the inflation, which is still rising, by the way, it should be a wake-up call for Biden fans. This is CNN. They generally won't even report the negative news. If their topic is the economy and all, they say, well, here's the top 5 reasons why the economy is actually pretty good and you should just tighten your belt. Because, of course, when an economy is good, people in the middle class start tightening their belts. Makes a whole lot of sense. So people should probably lose a little bit of weight, considering the obesity comorbidity with regards to the upcoming 10th or 20th or whatever the fuck we're on wave that will be used to maybe influence voting patterns. We'll say no more since this video is on YouTube, of course. But they're openly acknowledging it. And they're claiming it's going to get worse before it gets better. Hey, it's Putin's fault. Don't worry, everyone. It's not Bidenomics. The last year of bad data was Bidenomics, but now Putin managed to affect the U.S. economy without even going into Ukraine for an entire year. It's all his fault. But they're acknowledging that a problem exists. That for a year there, they had their heads, it was head in the sand mode. There are no problems. Inflation is transitory. It doesn't exist. What are you bitching about? The economy's great. We just created record numbers of jobs. The problem is that side of the propaganda didn't work. The American people may be mind-numbed lemmings in some ways, but you can't play them for fools at that level. More of them saw through the lie, and that's what it was, is a lie. The economy's not good. By the way, it does go beyond Bidenomics. Some of the same neoliberal globalistic lockdowner policies that were used in many other countries have led to the same situation in many of the others. The difference is that in some countries the damage was more prolonged, in some countries the damage was more pronounced, and so you get a balance of countries. One country locked down completely but only for a month, then opened up and said fuck it. Another country kept half-assed business lockdownerism going for the better part of a year. You can look, there's a differential between the amount of excess inflation and joblessness and so forth. In the U.S., most of the efforts were state-led. The problem is that Biden's contribution to that particular part of the damage, it's not the only reason the economy sucks, but it is one of the big reasons, along with the border problem, along with incentivizing non-work for quite some time, actually, with federal unemployment subsidies, along with funny money printing at large. But the lockdownerism was a big part. Biden's role was encouraging it, doing the opposite of what Trump did, by the way, in the process. Trump said, yeah, you can do this, but I don't recommend it. It was basically, after 2 weeks, there's nothing we can do. Basically, stay home if you feel sick and wash your hands. Biden said, no, I encourage all of them governors, when it was economically feasible, to shut down everything. I'm not going to shut down the economy, though. I'm going to shut down the virus. Instead, we have near 10.0 inflation. Using the proper metric, it's actually probably above 20 by now, but we'll use the lay person metric that they use now, which fudges the numbers a little bit. Imagine that you're using the new methodology and you still had 10.0 inflation. He encouraged it. He said to lock down things and the virus will magically go away, and it didn't. Instead, he fucked the economy up. Never should have been done. Nothing over the last year, really, for the most part, has been positive. Since Biden's asterisk administration began, I can't name one thing that is moving in a positive direction. I honestly can't. Other than the fact that he keeps failing at the constitutional level. By the way, they're appealing the federal mask mandate for travel. They're actually stupid enough to appeal it. What's the fucking point, Joe? It'll be months and months before the decision is even rendered by SCOTUS if they decide to take it up at all and not say, hey, now the federal court's idea is fine with us. And you know that they're going to shoot you down. You know they're going to agree with the federal court. It's the writing's on the wall. Biden can't get anything right, to the point where CNN even has to cover negative economic news. That's the surreal part. Remember, for about a year, they just wouldn't cover it at all. They hush-hushed it. That's about all. Peace out.